Pla warriors. Today is a good day to learn about deep sea creatures. But first, I'd like to point out the avatar improvement. Yesterday, as I briefly mentioned, it was the wrong version of my 3D avatar. It was my original version. This version, as you can see, has the improved cleavage. The bosoms are much more attractive, perkier, larger, little more cleavage there. Nice shading. I think that's enough. I also made a more attractive face, I think. Slightly more accurate eyes to my ethnic heritage. Prettier mouth, more lips on there, and this hair is smoother, much prettier. And today I am wearing glasses because I am Professor, well, Dr. Export. I almost said Pues, and I said it all weird because I'm doing a British accent but also starting to speak Spanish. Anyway, glasses because I am Professor today. That image of me there in the deep sea, I'd love to do something like that. Well, not in the deep sea because I'd die. However, I would love to scuba dive. Scuba dive. However, I am terrified of bodies of water. Austin Bever's ethnic heritage, I meant that I am Filipino. Not mermaid. I was referring to my eyes. Not sure where you got the mermaid from. I think there was a miscommunication there. Anyway, speaking of mermaids, thank you, Austin, for the segue. How have you all liked the new event? No spoilers. I'll talk about it later. Thank you, RogSon. Thank you so much. Were you not here yesterday? We certainly missed you. Thank you for your generous gift. Happy anniversary to you as well, because we are all in this together. And I don't mean that in the High School Musical sense, but in a real friendship sense. Oh, you're leaving again, RogSon. Well, thank you for stopping by. Always a pleasure. All right. So, no spoilers. We'll talk about it later. Tonight, we're talking about deep sea creatures. This is the third lesson with Dr. Export. And I chose deep sea creatures off the list of topics we made last time. Because during my visit to my nephew, he was very interested again in hearing about the anglerfish, which I told him about a few months ago. He wanted to see it again. He calls it the light fish. And he was very inspired by it and for the first time watched Finding Nemo. So I let my nephew be my inspiration and chose that off the list. And I made a list of, gosh, I think like 20 creatures. Maybe more. Some of them have a decent amount of information and some very little, but it is the nature of the deep sea. New creatures are being discovered all the time. Sometimes there's ones we've only seen twice in a decade or something like that. And so we know very little about it. So yes, all in this together for Tuesday karaoke. Sleepy, well, who's going to join me? Shall I be all the singers? And indeed, Acacia, the deep sea is quite relevant to us erratas, and the barrel eye is included here. Alright, and speaking of the karaoke, let me show you. I do believe I have fixed the piano. I won't be doing it tonight, but I'd like to demonstrate. Alright. Just a moment. Alright, are you hearing this? I believe you are. Oh, look at me tweaking out there. Quite frightening. And, Reese, Superior Lord of Sneezing Dragon, I agree with you. I am fascinated by it, but quite terrified. All bodies of water, to be honest. Alright, let's check in on the errata. Oh good, thank you, Erasmus. Yes, out of context, that was the updated version with the better bust that I mentioned. And here's the errata. How are you all? It appears they're all still there, still alive and well. So, let us begin our deep sea adventure. Perhaps we'll spy a barrel eye. Alright, to start, I'd like to talk about the levels of the ocean, the different layers. So tonight we'll be talking about the deep sea, and most of the creatures we're talking about here are from the bathypelagic zone on down. I don't feed the errata out of context. They feed each other, as it were. Acacia, how deep must the water be? Honestly, even the deep end of a swimming pool, I'm quite terrified. So, I would say more than 3 feet, although even less than that if I can't see. It's quite severe, which is strange because I wasn't afraid as a child. And somehow I became more and more afraid, and now it's quite severe. Anyway, so the creatures we'll be talking about tonight are from the bathypelagic zone on down, the midnight zone as it were. And quite impressive. This image shows us where the Titanic rests. In the abyssopelagic zone. I like this. This also shows the amount of sunlight we're talking about. And this is very important. The sunlight... The sunlight is very important when we're talking about the deep sea creatures. Because these creatures have all evolved ways to survive with very little sunlight and also very little food. It's quite freezing as well without that sunlight. So you can see from the midnight zone on down. For this reason, many of these creatures have evolved bioluminescence, which is quite fascinating, and some unique strategies for catching their food. There's another image here. Shows some of the creatures. So, from the bathypelagic all the way down. There was another image I liked. This one's quite interesting. So here's the twilight zone, then the midnight zone and down. Less and less and less. Here you see, this is the angler. Anglerfish right here. Alright. This one's a nice one. Well, no, this one's stupid. Never mind. It's alright. I don't love it. Let's begin. Can you buy real estate in there? I think it's free if you can survive. I believe that's the rule. If you have a way to survive, then yes, it's free. Kind of like on the moon. Although I suppose it's not free on the moon, but if you have a way to get there and live, I think they'll probably just let you keep it. Alright. Starting with the deep sea anglerfish in honor of my nephew. Now there's many kinds of anglerfish. We are talking about the deep sea one. Look at this. So, it has this, what's called a lure. This isn't a real picture, but it's nice and clear, so we'll use it. It has a lure on top of its head, and it glows, which is how it attracts prey. So just like in Finding Nemo. Here, let's see if we can get this. Darn it. I thought this would zoom. Hey, oh, goodness gracious. So, oh shit. Just like in Finding Nemo, the fish see the glowing lure, and they're like, oh, shiny, light. I hardly ever see light. And then as they approach it, they're like, oh shit, that's not just a light, but by then it's too late. And it's funny that you call it a handsome fellow out of context, because this is actually a woman, a female anglerfish. Only the females have the lure, which they also use to lure their mates. Quite interesting. Some of the types of mates, what they do is they follow the lure and the pheromones, then they latch on, they bite onto her, and then they just die over time as they fertilize her eggs. I do believe they die. That was my understanding. Anyway, this lure, it glows from specialized bacteria, which is where most of the bioluminescence comes from. Quite fascinating. Let me show you. That is not it. I mean, I suppose that might be one, but that's disgusting. We'll use the cartoon one just because it's nice and clear. So look at that. Adorable. Also, if you search on the internet for anglerfish, there's a very cute little video someone made on TikTok or something. That's if Pixar made a movie about an anglerfish. It's adorable. He goes up to the surface, which of course would kill him. But he goes up and he sees the sun and he cries tears of joy. It's quite adorable. And yes, praying mantis kind of mate. Not exactly acacia, but I believe with many fish, the mating is fatal for the males. And then the birthing of the offspring is often fatal for the females as well. Good question, Charlemagne. The females can be quite large. they can be up to, I believe, like a meter, but the males are quite tiny. Yes, the males become absorbed. Exactly, Erasmus. They bite on, become absorbed, and fertilize the eggs. The females can be fairly large, couple of feet, and the males are just tiny. And it's pretty nifty. Can we give it a hat? No, not unless you make a hole for the lure. That's quite crucial to the survival. Basically, you make your own light down here in the depths. Oh, what the hell? Well, that's odd. Let's try this again. Here we go. Here is our dear friend, the barrel eye. Oh, here we go. Look at that beauty. Also has some bioluminescence, which helps it be glowy like this. Very neat, is it not? And yes, Charlemagne, you're quite right. In nature, humans are quite lucky. I don't know if you've ever read about female hyenas, what they go through to give birth. Google that one. Female hyenas will really blow your mind, because they have some very special parts on them. It's quite disturbing. And, yes, in the animal kingdom, humans are quite lucky, because many of the males die when fertilizing, and many of the females die when they birth them, or sometime after. Yes, Consina. Are you leaving for your party? Not sure. You should be missing class for a party, but alright. Anyway, the barrel eye, these two eyes in front, do you see them? They are not, in fact, eyes. They look like eyes, but they are the olfactory organs. And for those of you who don't know, olfactory means, scent. So they're scent organs. Consina, I'm gonna need the layman's term. Then it has these tubular eyes, the bioluminescence in its transparent skull. It actually can see right through its own skull. It spends much of its time looking upward, but scientists eventually discovered it can as well look forward. The eyes are right here, Charlemagne. Do you see these tubular glowy things? So it can also look forward. Here's its little mouth that gets its little creatures. And it's only about 6 inches large. Here it looks quite large to me, but of course it's zoomed in. It's only 6 inches. That's what she said. The Immortal jellyfish. Well, that I'm not terribly familiar with. We will have to add that. So the barrel eye. Why is it doing this? Strange. I guess I just get to... Here's a cute little guy. It sounds quite frightening. It's called the vampire squid. And I don't really understand why. I think because of these, you see, if you see the inside here, its horrifying mouth. I assume that's where the name comes from, because disappointingly, the vampire squid doesn't actually consume blood, nor does it produce ink like other squids do. So, but what it does produce instead of ink is it expels a bioluminescent substance, which it then frightens its prey with. I wish I had a picture. Oh yes, look at that. Oral view of a vampire squid. Can you imagine being eaten by a squid? You're like, oh, he doesn't look so bad. Then he flips over, and you're like, well, I guess this is it for me. I wish I had an image of it with its bioluminescent substance. Perhaps that's it. Well, that would be disappointing. I hope it's better than that. That's what she said. So, yes, there that is. It's kind of a cute little guy when you see it from the outside. And then I think it's interesting that instead of ink, it does the bioluminescent substance. Next is a fearsome creature, the giant squid. We've discussed this in the chat before, when I've mentioned my affinity for deep-sea creatures. Look at this monster. The deep-sea squid can reach up to 40 feet. 40 feet! Look at that. Incredible. I don't know what the hell that is. But look at that. Up to 40 feet. What's this? Let's see. Well, I haven't searched for information on the colossal squid. I only had so much time, as you see. I do have a full-time job. Unfortunately, I'd prefer to spend my time researching deep-sea creatures. And piloting a remote operative vehicle. So anyway, let's get back to this large creature. Where's the large one? This one. Look at this. Now, so as I said, can reach up to 40 feet, and it also has the largest... Oh. Doesn't want me to zoom in, I guess. The largest eye in the animal kingdom. This eye can reach 10 inches in diameter, so that's nearly a foot in diameter. The largest in the animal kingdom. Bigger than a Subway sandwich. Are you talking about the eye out of context? Charlemagne, I have to make the That's What She Said jokes because I didn't start getting those jokes until much later in life than I would like to admit. I did not understand them in high school, so I'm making up for lost time. Well, Charlemagne, it does allow for megafauna, yet at the same time, many of the other megafauna in the ocean have also ceased to exist. Some of those plesiosaurs. So yes, that's that on the terrifying giant squid. Now this one's quite interesting. The coelacanth, because this fish was believed to have gone extinct 65 million years ago. And then in 1938, a museum curator in South Africa discovered a coelacanth in a fishing net. So it turns out this is a living fossil essentially. Austin Bevers, it is my belief that Nessie did die, but that she existed for a long time into modern times. I believe she was the last living plesiosaur. I think it would make a great movie. So yes, it's a living fossil. Incredible. Can you imagine being that museum curator? Yes, a literal dinosaur. Being that museum curator, he'd be like, holy shit, I just found a coelacanth. This can't be true. And yet it was. Wonder what that man's name was. They didn't include that. That's rather offensive. I would want my name to go down in that article for all eternity. Alright, this one, not terribly interesting, but look at this. It's quite horrifying. Can you see it? Oh, shoot. My avatar's in the way. Just a moment. Oh, God. I wanted a picture. Okay. Oh, well, look at me. I'm so very clumsy. You can see it, right? I just want you to see this white part. So this is the deep sea squid, and really the thing that was interesting to me about this is look at this horrifying quilt of eggs it carries around. These are all its eggs, and it just swims around with this blanket of eggs. Gross. Yes, Charlemagne, that is interesting, because I would totally do a lesson about that as well. I was reading Sapiens by Yuval Noah. I can't think of his name. It's quite good. And yes, so the disappearance of megafauna and the rise of the sapiens, the Homo sapiens. I would love to discuss that more, Charlemagne. Future time. But anyway, the only interesting thing about this squid to me was its disturbing egg thing, which scientists theorize that it does this with its eggs to protect them and give them a better chance of survival. So it just figures, well, if I carry my eggs around everywhere, who's going to take them? No one without a fight from me. Next is the fangfish. Not much information on this. We don't know much. It's been rarely cited, but it's quite horrifying. So I had to see this, so I felt you should see this as well. Look at this thing. We don't know much about it, except that it lives in the deep sea. That mostly guesses about its other habits, because it's... What the hell is that? Super Mario Wiki. So yes. This is the fangfish. Look at this. Face only a mother could love. Next is the fingered goblet sponge, which is quite large. The goblet sponge can be as much as 2 meters tall and 2 meters across. For you Americans, that's approximately 6 feet wide and 6 feet tall. Austin, my guess would be because of the ways the reason they look so horrifying is because of the adaptations they have to survive down in the depths. That would be my guess. Whereas birds you know, they have the colors because we can see color up here and attract a mate, whereas in the deep sea, what you need is light and a unique way to find food, and your color won't be seen, so there's not a lot of point in having special colors, except for an exception that we'll discuss, but you're better off with bioluminescence and some method of catching creatures. And so, what was this? The fingered goblet sponge, quite large. Contributes quite a bit to the, I was going to say the economy, but I mean the environment, to creating, what is the word I'm looking for? Oh god. But it creates these forests, and the, shoot, I lost my notes. Where did it go? Oh, the skeleton of this hideous thing is made of silica glass. So, and then once it, if it dies, it still leaves behind its skeleton, which makes up a lot of the coral reefs. Lots of, ecology, thank you, Austin. Not the economy. And yes, lots of creatures hide inside them. Look, as you can see here, very handy little spot. Little hidey area. And they'll filter feed us. As you can kind of tell by the way they look, these little webs of them. Very creepy, but very important to the economy / ecology. This one I have next to no information about, except it's quite adorable. So, you know, the Flapjack Octopus. It's just very cute. That's all I wrote, literally. Just, my bullet point just says cute. It's very cute, it doesn't do a whole lot. Ah, here. New species. Cute. Scientific name, Adorabilis. So, yeah, they don't know much. There wasn't much about it that was unique from other squids, but it's just adorable with those little ears. Yes, and they move. Aren't they cute? This horror is the giant phantom squid. So it's about 1 meter across. Again, that's about 3 feet. Slightly less, I believe. And look at this thing. It has 4, what the article that I read said, it has 4 mouth arms. Yes, mouth arms, that's what it said. So don't give this thing a hug. And so it just, look at this, it just billows around, being terrifying. But the interesting thing about it is other creatures do live in it. They seek shelter in it, as though it's just these 4 mouth arms or a little forest. Presumably things that aren't going to eat it. And look at its cute little head. It looks like a little hat, doesn't it? Like it's a little lady's hat. Consina, that's if you're assuming that the deep sea is not, in fact, just a completely separate planet altogether. Look, it's got a hat for a head, 4 mouth arms, and it shelters other creatures. It's a good fellow, isn't it? Now look at these. Gross. Look at this. Monstrosity. It's quite important, though. Oh, why does it zoom? What the hell? Okay. It doesn't want me to do that. Let's fix that then. Fine. Anyway, these are tubeworms. And tubeworms, they can grow about 2 meters long. So at first I was like, worms, oh, okay. Oh, horrifying 6-foot worms. Got it. But they are important. They live in the deep sea vents. And they don't actually eat themselves. I assumed this was a mouth, but it's for something else. I can't remember. But what they actually do instead of eating is, there are bacteria inside them that turn sulfur from the vents into energy. The energy that they give to the tubeworms. Look at these. They're very, close, aren't they? Living in their disgusting little colonies. Let's see, we'll try it one more time. Oh, look at this. Trophosome bacteria, these bacteria that create the sulfur. Ah, see, look at that. See, it attaches itself to the rocky vents, see? And then it's like, guess I'll live here. Isn't that fascinating? Very cool. On the hydrothermal vents. Yes, essentially acacia, they eat from within. They consume the energy produced by the bacteria. So, yes. Thank you, Consina. This seemed to work better this time. So, gross. Ah, here's the plume. It's a plume. Captures the molecules, but it doesn't actually eat them, so it's not technically a mouth, I think. Now this is my friend, the glass squid, which has an invisibility cloak. Because as I said, all the creatures in the deep sea had to come up with special adaptations to survive down there without the light, without the food. It's very cold or very hot if you're on the vents. And also, it's just difficult to survive. And a tubeworm, so that's what she said. Consina, good one. So it's this one is a glass squid, as you can see, because it's transparent, has its invisibility cloak. It's actually 2 meters too. I feel like it looks small in these pictures, but it's about 2 meters. Something really interesting about it is its inside is filled with ammonium, and ammonium is lighter than water, which gives it buoyancy, so it doesn't have to work as hard to swim. It also has phonosphors, which mask the shadows cast by its opaque parts, such as its eyes. And it has chromatophores, like other squid, which are the color-changing pigment sacs. And so if a creature does happen to see it with its invisibility cloak, it will use its chromatophores to turn itself dark and disappear. So there you go. Very good. A+ on the adaptations, I'd say. Yes, that's true, Charlemagne. Since all the pictures are just the creature all by itself, it is hard to tell the size. Ooh, next is the mystery mollisk. What a beauty. Why does it do... What the hell? Alright, well, there you go. Whatever. The mystery mollisk. As you'd imagine, there's not much known about it. And when it was, sighted, they were like, what the hell is this? Guess we'll call it the mystery mollisk. Yes, Consina. Sleepy, which one had the Pope hat? The, Oh, this one, yes! I believe those are its legs. Are they not? No, I'm confused. I don't know. I have to get back to you on that one. Siren is in the deep ocean, but that's all I can tell you. She prefers to keep it private. Consina, I had the spider crab on my list, but ran out of time, but we'll Google it, don't worry. So, this mystery mollusk is in fact a deep-sea nudibranch, and it uses... I need a different picture to show you. You see this hood it has? It has... What the hell? Has this hood. Okay, why sometimes and other times no? Has this hood that is right behind my head. Damn it. Alright, it has this hood, and it uses this ghostly hood to catch its prey. Although scientists are not quite sure how, because it's slow moving. So they're like, how does it do that? But perhaps it has some way to become more invisible. Evening, Gamma Spectre. Let's see. Right. Other notes. What else? Oh, and it does also have bioluminescence, like many of these creatures, and I think you can kind of tell. It's creating its own little light with whatever the hell that is inside. Here's the finger-like projections, a paddle-like tail. It's got its hood, and what's that thing inside? A brain? I can't imagine that's what it is. Interesting. Anyway, moving on to the Octopus Squid, which at first I was like, an Octopus Squid. I had some trouble actually finding a photo, because it literally is an octopus. See, none of these are correct. I suppose this one, Octopus Squid. So it's called the Octopus Squid because Usually squid have 10 arms. It's 8, I'm sorry. They usually have the 8 arms and then 2 tentacles that they feed with. But in the octopus squid, it only has 8 because its 2 feeding tentacles are resorbed during its adolescence. So it is in fact a squid, Charlemagne. But it's called the octopus squid because it has 2 less arms because they become resorbed. Here's another photo. You can see better there. Also, they have photophores for bioluminescence at the end of each arm. Wish I had a photo of that. So the end of each of the 8 arms, they have a little ball of light. And they use that to frighten, if another creature, they can defend themselves by being like, ooh, look at my bright lights. Aren't I scary? What's really cool about these as well is that, they can do, just like other squid, they can change the colors. And they can do many colors and body patterns, including patches and stripes. So even for a squid, they have quite a few patterns, which is really quite fascinating. I could do a whole lesson just on that. So pretty cool. Then, this is the viper fish. Another horror. Look at that. Hold on, I'm trying to see there. Yes, excellent. Okay, so the viper fish. Why does it do that? It makes it smaller. Ooh, look at those shiny scales. The viper fish, so it has these needle-like teeth. Do you see them? Needle-like teeth. And what's quite frightening is to catch their prey, they unhinge their jaw, and then they envelop the food, they engulf their prey, and then their needle-like teeth create a cage, so the prey can't escape. I don't know, Charlemagne. I don't think you would. It's very disturbing. So it unhinges its jaw, kind of like a snake, engulfs the prey, and then traps it with its teeth. Creates a cage. Can you imagine being the fish in there? You're in there, and you're like, it's alright, I'll just swim back out. Oh shit, there's a cage. So there's that. Disturbing. This one is adorable. I don't know if this was what the one in Finding Nemo was supposed to be, but there really are cute little pink octopuses. It's called a pearl octopus. Why it's called pearl, I'm not so sure. I don't know what happened with my accent there. But what it does, so as I said, they all need special adaptations. And in the deep sea, their offspring develop much more slowly because of the lack of light and heat. So for an octopus, they can spend years waiting for their offspring to hatch. So what this very clever pearl octopus does is it lays its eggs near the deep sea vents, where it's hot, to accelerate the development. Zephyr, that's just what we do when you're teaching, obviously. And so it lays its eggs near the deep sea vents so that they will develop faster from the heat. However, it still has to sacrifice its life for its offspring. Because, it spends about 2 years protecting its eggs, living off food reserves, and then once the eggs hatch, it dies. So it lays the eggs, protects them for 2 years, eats scraps, eats whatever's in the pantry, and then dies. It's a rough life as a female in the ocean, but no easier for a male, if we're being honest. Now look at this lovely creature. It's the pig butt worm. This is real, friends. This is real. And look at all the beautiful angles you can look at this thing from. Which angle is least disgusting? I think this, perhaps. I think the butthole image here is much... Yes, that's hideous. This looks like a duckbill to me. I don't know why they specify pig. Because of the color? So, this creature, it's only 2.5 centimeters, about the size of a hazelnut. It just floats. So it was obviously quite hard for scientists with the remote operated vehicles to find these creatures. And they eat what is called marine snow, which is just floating organic material. And so it eats the marine snow. And it is a worm. Scientists had to study this at length, but they discovered, as you can kind of see here, it is segmented like other worms. However, the segments, you can see here, the segments are very tightly compressed at the ends, and then in the middle it's inflated. So it's got compressed, segmented ends, and then inflated in the middle. I just felt I had to laugh when I said that. And they produce a blue light, and so they also have bioluminescence. They produce a blue light, as well as green glowing mucus. So isn't that nice? Humans also produce green mucus, but it doesn't glow. And you might be wondering, what's the point of this mucus? Well, another special adaptation. Because it casts webs of the green glowing mucus to catch the marine snow floating around. So it just throws out some sticky glowing mucus, catches organic marine snow, and gobbles it, I suppose. Yes, this is real, friends. This is real. See, look at those segments. Beautiful. Right. I think we've looked at that for long enough. Let's see. Did this get me the right creature? Yes, I believe this is it. So these are called the Pompei Worm. And where's my notes? The Pompei Worm is called an extremophile, which is the maybe some of you've heard this term. It refers to creatures that live in extreme environments that other creatures generally can't survive. This worm's quite fascinating. So it lives in the hydrothermal vent chimneys, which is the hottest part of the ocean. The rocky vents can reach. Yes, let her in, Consina's boyfriend. Oh, party got cancelled. What a disappointment. They must have heard about the lesson. So it lives on the rocky vents that can reach up to 221 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what Americans call Celsius. And then, you might be wondering, how does this creature survive? Well, how does it survive the heat? It has two ways to survive. Charlemagne, it was an extremophile. Extreme file. So it loves extremeness, I guess. It's a adrenaline junkie. So, it has a fleece-like layer of bacteria that insulates it and redistributes the heat. Then it also has, what it also does is it travels between the hot water where its nutrients are, and it travels over to the cold water where the oxygen is. And then, inside its tube body, some cold water enters. So it uses that cold water mixture to survive. Very nice, Charlemagne. I think this deep sea lesson brought you luck. So yes, Pompei. Ah, here's a better photo. Look at that. Incredible. Alright, look at this beauty. This is the Rattail Fish. Now, instead of having bioluminescence, this creature has blue eyes that are able to sense bioluminescence. So it senses bioluminescence and goes and finds bioluminescent creatures that it can eat. And then it also has, it also finds finds food through its sense of smell. Look at its cute little nostrils. And it also has, barbels on its chin. Ah, there, you can see in this photo. Do you see the barbel? Barbels, that can sense wiggling creatures. So I assume it senses vibration. So it senses creatures wiggling in the soil, like little worms, and goes and gets them. Good job to the Rattail. Nice. Ah, yes. This was the deep sea pig. I had basically nothing written about this. It's a sea cucumber, but the way that it's different is it has these stilted legs where it just walks around in the mud. Tra-la-la. Just doing its thing. Why does it do this? There. Look at how it's got its stilted legs. Walks along. Disgusting little sea cucumber. Anyone ever touched a sea cucumber? In the, like in the touch pools, where they torture the animals for the children's entertainment? So, I have. I regret it, but I have. Now this, why is it zoomed already? This is quite a creature. The whalefish, look at that. So this one, why won't it let me scroll? What happened to my notes? How odd. Where are the rest of my notes? Just a moment. My notes on the whalefish are giving me some trouble. Here we go. So, back over. What the hell? Back over here, the whalefish. Sorry about that. Yes, Charlemagne, excellent question. So, why is it so red? Well, that is one of its adaptations. It's bright red, but deep in the ocean, where there's no light, you don't see the bright red. It turns black because of the lack of light. It's perceived as black. So, it's practically invisible down there, blending in into the blackness. It also, as you can see, do you see the paws? It has these paws running around along its body. And, these paws allow it to see. So it has really shitty eyesight. It basically can't see anything. But the paws allow it to see, quote, by feeling vibrations. Isn't that neat? This picture shows them quite well. Here's another one. Look at that. Look at those paws. Gross. Around the face. Look at those tiny little eyes. They do nothing. Why does it even have them? I don't know. But it senses the vibrations. Isn't that neat? And as you can see here, the females are the good ones again. It's interesting because in birds, the males are the showy ones with the beautiful colors. But in fish, at least deep sea fish, the females are the more interesting ones. Oh yes, good point, Charlemagne. Like tigers. This is... what the hell? This one I have no information on. Let me see why... why did I even have it on the list? Was that strange? What happened here? Zoom out, you piece of... odd. I have it on my list, but I wrote nothing. I believe I put it on here because the image I saw looked like a male body part. This is not a gulper eel. Is it? It looks like a... it looks like a sea lion. Let me try again. Deep sea. These don't look like what I saw. Strange. Don't know what happened there. In any case, I only included it because it looked like a male body part. And here... oh, this is blurry. Can you stop being blurry? This one I had trouble finding an image of as well. This was the woolly siphonosphor. There are many siphonosphores in the deep sea. I wanted a picture of this one specifically. It can grow up to 6 meters. Which, not all of these images are correct. This one's about right-ish. I don't know. But the woolly one was the one I was looking at. It eats gelatinous animals, which it catches by casting out. Well, by stretching out. Because as I said, this one grows 6 meters. So, about... here, let's click this. There we go. About 36 feet. And look, it stretches out. Catches its creatures. Yum yum. All done. Delicious. It's kind of just like a long rope, Charlemagne. Not a whole lot to see. Ah, see, look at it stretch out. And then, Consina, let's... wait, who asked about the Japanese... did I say it wrong, Joe Wolf? Siphonophores. Yes, I added an extra S, didn't I? Thank you, Joe. Japanese spider crab. Get a look at that. That's not it. Ooh, look at that. Let's find some fun facts. Japanese spire. Ah, the legs can be up to 12 feet long. Tell us more. Oof, look at that. Oh, look, the Philippines. Yes, 3.7 meters. Takaashigani, translating to tall legs crab. Let's see. Any other interesting facts? Well, there's some in the Philippines at a Manila Ocean Park. That's interesting. Look at this one. This man. It says the female crabs carry the fertilized eggs attached to their abdominal appendages until they hatch into tiny planktonic larvae. They can lay up to 1.5 million eggs per season. And they hatch in 10 days on average. Wow. Impressive. The first stage only lasts a matter of minutes. Wow, what a creature. Oh, look at that. Someone eating one. Tragic. And let us look up the colossal squid. Colossal. I don't think I spelled that right, and I pride myself on my spelling. My life is empty now. I'm sorry, I need to catch up. Hello, DM. Glad you made it in time. Now, is there a difference between the giant squid and the colossal squid? There is, isn't there? I'm a little confused. I feel like I'm seeing both answers. Ooh, look at the beak! Horrifying. Horrifying. Indeed, Joe, I do like deep-sea creatures. Despite my terror for bodies of water. Alright. Well. Look at that. That's about it for tonight. Any questions? Why don't we discuss what you'd like to hear about next week? Next week. We had discussed some other topics. While we discuss it, let's check in with the fish tank. And think about what we'd like to discuss next week. Any thoughts? I remember thinking of something today. Oh yes, Con, let's look at the immortal jellyfish. Ah, Turritopsis dorni. Dorni? Oh, look at that. It's quite beautiful. Is that real? Well, that's an illustration. I would like to see a real one. Help me find a real image here, Con. About cars, Sleepy. Where's the Immortal? This is beautiful. Is this it? Ah, here it is. Ah, yes, Cena, I recall. It's called Immortal because then I can actually revert back into the pull-up stage, absorbing the tentacles and the jellyfish bell as it reattaches itself to the ground. It now extends those same stolons to make a whole new hydroid colony. Incredible! So it basically rebirths itself. It can do this at any stage of jellyfish development, from being a tiny 1 millimeter across to a not quite as tiny, sexually mature adult. Wow, incredible. That is really something. Is that a deep sea one out of context? Because this emphasis was on the deep sea ones. Ika, oh dear, Musume? Is this a deep sea? What? Oh. No, out of context. So, yes. Oh, they can regenerate the telomeres. We could sure use that, huh? Alright, so. Humboldt squids. Okay, last one, and then we will discuss next week's topic. Decide as a group. Oh, I don't like that image. That's frightening. Ooh, this is the last thing you see before you're eaten. Look at this fella. Goodness. All right. Yes, I did not know that, Acacia. Thank you. Ooh, what is this? Oh, God! Look at this! I can't even think of the words because I am so disturbed. You all know what you're looking at. My God. Oh, I'm going to be sick. We are going to close that one. It's too upsetting. Anyway. Oh, look, there's the tubeworms. The anglerfish, the viperfish. How about the blobfish? We did forget the blobfish. I'm a fan of the blobfish. You know, it only looks sad like that because it's been brought back up. See? It looks all disgusting and deflated because it's deflated. See, this is what it's supposed to look like. But then we bring it up to the surface and it's unalive. It's dead because it's not under the deep pressure, the extreme pressure of the deep sea. I found that tremendously... Exactly, Erasmus. It's decompression sickness. I found it tremendously disappointing. See? This is what it's supposed to look like. So it's not funny at all. This is... If you're looking at this, this is a plush of a dead blobfish. Look at this poor creature. Well, it still looks like Grumpy Cat, but that's not the point. It's not the point. Poor creature. Upsets me deeply. Anyway, friends. Next week, topic. Go. We will narrow it down to 3 and vote. Potential topics. Prehistory. I do enjoy prehistory. Either the pre-humans or sapiens, as we were discussing. So I would say paleontology. Either of humanoids or dinosaurs or those paleontology creatures, others. That's one I'm quite interested in. What else? What else? How about ancient medicine? That's something quite interesting. Oh, sharks. Sharks. Okay, I'm seeing some vote for... Oh, those were both votes from you, Zephyr. That's fine. Indeed, Acacia, prehistoric times is a large topic. So that would take some time. And thank you, Joe Wolf, for subscribing, if you're in chat still. So we could discuss mythology, which again could be a series. So we'd have to choose a specific topic under mythology. We could choose something. I'm always interested in different foods and how they spread about the world. So like how coffee spread from Africa, how tea spread from China, how chocolate spread from the Americas. Sharks. Okay, sharks. All right, that's going to go onto one of the 2, 3. All right, so I'm seeing... Okay. I don't know what that means, Consina. For next week, we're going to narrow it down to just 3. And what I see that I'm liking so far, we will say sharks. Yes, Acacia, I'm referring to... Well, it's a difficult question. So I'm going to say sharks. I'm going to say the many affairs of Zeus. I think that's quite comical. And then maybe a little extra Greek mythology. And the last one will be, let's say, dinosaurs. And then we will start with that prehistory. But prehistory I'll probably do 12 times. Because it's one of my favorite topics. And as Acacia notes, and others have noted, it is a broad term. So, poll. Greek mythology with an emphasis on Zeus. Dinosaurs. Well, yes, that's true, Zephyr, but I'm going to separate sharks. All right. Poll in the chat. Vote, my friends. Let us decide. Oh, so so far, but don't worry, these topics will come back around. So next week, bring it up again. Don't worry, we have plenty of time. It's weekly, 52 weeks in a year. Yes, sharks are dinosaurs, but I was gonna go separate for sharks, go more in depth with the sharks and maybe more of a cursory glance at the dinosaurs, but a wider range. Alright, we will give it until 9 PM on the dot. Tomorrow is gaming. Haven't decided yet what I'm going to be playing. Open to suggestions. Please, in the Discord, would be a good time. Also, maybe Dinkum. I really want to play Dinkum, but I haven't bought it yet. Sorry, I zoned out for a moment there. And then, hi Diadem. I like that name. That's a nice word. I know what it means, but it just sounds nice to me. Anyway, about a minute and a half left to vote. So tomorrow is gaming. Oh, Friday, impressions. At the moment, Crown is winning, so everyone would like the king to return. So, I thought Sugar would win, but we'll see. And Zephyr, that's great. I would love to have your input. I love Greek mythology as well, but it sounds like you know more than I do. I thoroughly enjoyed my classical mythology class in college. Crushed it. And in 6th grade, I did a bunch of extra credit just because I enjoyed it. I wasn't terribly popular, as you can imagine. Alright, now the dinosaurs are winning. Quick, get your votes in. 1 more minute. And then tomorrow, join me for gaming. And Friday, join me... Well, Friday, at the moment, looks as though Crown will be hosting. And I don't know what I'll be doing that day, but... Well, Crown will be discussing, but we'll see. Maybe hot Cheetos. Alright, it's 9. And... It is now... The winner is dinosaurs! Alright, don't worry. Zeus and sharks will stay on the list. But dinosaurs has won. Oh, interesting, Con. I need to write that down. Cooking with Max Miller. That sounds great. If one of the voices are never getting chosen, Charlemagne, well, I guess they just never get their day in the sun. Alright, everyone. See you next Wednesday for Dinosaur Lecture. See you... Good one, Acacia. See you tomorrow for gaming. See you Friday. Well, no, Crown will be there. And now I'm prepared for next Tuesday for the karaoke stream. Oh, excuse me. Before I go, any thoughts on the song for the karaoke stream next week? Thanks, Diadem, for following on Twitch. Karaoke Tuesday. Any thoughts? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, sorry. It's going to be, what does the fox say? Up Sleepy wins! Any High School Musical song. Alright. Also, out of context, if you're bringing me an apple, make sure it's a Fuji. What can I sing, Con? Well, I'm open to buying, like, the chords to sing, the song. I have a mezzo-soprano voice, so those songs are better for me. We can discuss it more. Alright. Wonderwall, that's a good one. No Wonderwall for you? Alright. Alright, remember to like the stream on the way out if you don't mind. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Majram.